to Into the Spotlight with Osaka Jack on Everfree Network. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. With me today, I have someone that you may have read the works of, and soon will see the works of. Ms. G.M. Berrow, hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great. Nice to be here.
I would like to have an interview with somebody who only does a monotonous flat tone just for the whole thing. That would be quite amusing, I think.
Should I do that?
No, please.
Okay. Hello.
I would get sad.
You just want to talk to Maud, basically.
Not even Maud, just someone that just not even doesn't show emotions, but just...
Daria Morgendorfer.
There you go. Yeah. We need a Daria pony. Well, if anybody is totally clueless, could you give a quick rundown? Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? I write My Little Pony books. And I've written a book for each of the main 6 ponies, and the first Equestria Girls book, and the Daring Do collection with A.K. Yearling.
She's hard to get a hold of, isn't she? I've been asking for an interview for months and nothing.
She's very elusive,
Yeah.
but, you know, she'll talk to me, so.
Of course, yes. Now, I am curious, was any of that your idea, or was it, like, given to you and you just went with it?
With what, sorry?
With co-writing with A.K. Yearling?
Well, I figured since it was her series, she would want to be involved.
Okay.
You know, so do you mean seriously? No, with the having A.K. Yearling on the cover and being, you know, the author of the books, that was something that I discussed with my publishers that we tossed around, but I really pulled for it because I wanted the books to look like the show.
Sure.
And I knew that it would mean a lot to a lot of people if they looked like the show, and
right.
You know, it would just make it more fun and accurate, and who doesn't like that? And, you know, I thought it would be cool because you could carry around the book with your cosplay.
Right.
Too. So.
That's a good point. That's excellent, yeah.
Yeah. Or, you know, just, like, prop it up next to your little Rainbow Dash doll, and be great.
That's very good of you. I appreciate that. The container that the Daring Do series came in was just fantastic.
They did a great job on that. I mean, I cannot take credit for that. I knew that it was going to be a box set. They told me it was going to be a treasure chest, and I think that actually Little Brown did a great job bringing it to the next level with that set. They did listen in terms of how fans wanted something with original artwork and kind of just a really beautifully presented set. I mean, if you're going to charge that much for something, you want it to be worth it for people. And I think they wanted it to be just like really special, and it is. It's fantastic. I think it's so gorgeous. I love the way it all came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a treasure chest with books inside. How could you get wrong with that? That's fantastic.
I know, and it's so cool because you can use, you know, the treasure chest for other stuff if you want to take the books out, or the little box like they have in the show. You can put your little blind bag ponies in there, or you know, secret treasures, whatever you want.
Yep, yeah, it's really well done. I was really impressed with it. I honestly was expecting just like a cardboard box just painted like a treasure chest, but no, this is well above and beyond.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And it has a little gold Daring Do inside.
I know. I really like that little added touch. It's good. Yay.
Was it a challenge for you? I know that you mentioned you've written the main 6 books and the first Equestria Girls books. All 3 Daring Do books came out at the same time.
Right.
So you had to complete 3 books. Was it a simultaneous thing, or were you given triple the deadline?
It was kind of done. It was like a rolling sort of thing. So I had to do them all at once, but we worked on the first one, and then I started on the second one while the first one was being edited, and then I did it was kind of like rolling. But then at the end, I did revisions on all 3, and they were all done together basically. But it was a challenge, I would have to say.
I can believe it. Yeah.
It was a new thing for me to do something all at once like that. But and it was really different from the other books, the main 6 books.
Yes.
Tonally and like just coming up with some new fantastical elements to bring into the world was really cool. And something I always want to say to people when they're talking to me about Daring Do, because I've been to a couple conventions where people ask me, well, why, wouldn't Luna and Celestia know about this thing or that thing if Daring Do is real? And it turns into this whole, confusing jumble of why wouldn't she get help from other people or other ponies? And the thing I want to remind everyone is that A.K. Yearling is an author in the pony world, and authors take things from their real lives and they also embellish them.
Yes,
And
that's a good
bring in
point.
other elements that didn't necessarily happen exactly in that way, but they are inspired by things that happen. So everything that's in those books isn't necessarily exactly like that in that world.
Well, and I mean, even in the show, everybody is really shocked to discover that A.K. Yearling's Daring Do because the books are written as fiction.
Right.
Which I would surmise they are, but just not totally fiction.
Well, I would say most books, even if they're autobiographical, include a little fiction. So
the autobiographies I've read I'm pretty sure would qualify as almost total fiction.
Yeah,
not on purpose, but yeah.
Well, the whole point of it is that the author A.K. Yearling takes her adventures and turns them into exciting books and throws in elements that maybe aren't entirely real.
Yeah.
So I hope people keep their minds open about that, because it really is, it's stories within stories.
Right.
And in the middle of the stories. So it's kind of an interesting place to land for that.
It might not be a question you can answer, and I'm going to try to not give away anything, but the last book does seem to be a last chapter of a much larger idea. Is this going to be something that's continued, or is this a good stopping point for the A.K. Yearling books? If you can't answer, that's fine. I understand.
Well, I can't really answer that for sure, but the way it's set up is intentional to leave room for more adventures, because the idea behind the series is that it's not the end of the Daring Do series, it's the middle.
Okay. All right.
So, there possibly could be more to come.
Okay. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could go through the last Daring Do book and say, oh, look at this. What a coincidence. There happen to be 6 very important ponies. I wonder if they all represent an element of something.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I made dog bark.
My dog is getting really excited about this. He's really excited about Daring Do. He just loves it so much.
Oh, yeah. Who is? Have you had I know you've been to enough conventions at this point. I'm sure you've seen cosplays. Have there been any specific A.K. Yearling cosplays?
I actually have one that I wear at convention.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I haven't seen anyone else do it, but it's actually kind of funny. I mean, my cosplay is it's like a hat and some glasses and a cloak, which is basically what she wears anyway.
Hey, you know what? You wrote the books. You have control at this point.
I usually put it on to read to the kids whenever I have a session like that at a convention. I'll put it on and then sit there. And take a lot of pictures with people dressed as Daring Do or Rainbow Dash. Yeah, but I haven't seen anyone else dress up as A.K. Yearling.
Okay.
Maybe in the future, someone should do that.
Yeah. I'm thinking that would get a very good reaction from her if we did this. Just saying.
Yeah. But really, the cosplays are great. I love seeing that at conventions. It's so much. So much fun.
I have to admit, while I like cosplays, I had never been a huge fan of the full-on suits
Uh,
until I went to Japan PonyCon.
uh-huh.
They do them really well.
They do a lot of stuff really well in Japan, I hear.
Yes, this is true.
They know how to do cute stuff really well.
Well, we mentioned it, but the main 6 books, as of releasing of this, all of them will be out in America.
Right.
But
Yes.
as of recording this, I've read them all, and I have them all.
You always read them first.
I do, yes.
You get the perks. You always get them before I do, so I don't even know.
It's a glitch with Amazon.jp's book pre-orders. For some reason, I'm not going to complain to Amazon, but I think somebody at Amazon.jp doesn't know English, and when that box arrives, it says "Do not open before blah blah blah." I think they just, all right, box, open it, send them out.
Oh well. It's kind of good. I like it.
I try to not give spoilers until the
Yeah.
book's released.
Yeah.
Once it's released, it's fair game, so watch out. But no, I even don't do that.
Yes, so you have read Fluttershy's book.
I have, yes,
The highly anticipated Fluttershy book.
yes. And I might be wrong, but I believe that the Fluttershy book has more angel dialogue than anything else put out to date.
I think you're probably right about that.
Well, I know there was one comic episode where Angel got the power of speech, but that was we only saw him talk for a page or two.
Right.
But yes, I think, yes.
Well, he's a bunny of very few words, but he makes his needs known.
Exactly, yeah. Hey, if you can gesture well, that's at least half of a language. That's how I communicate over here.
Well, with the dialogue, it kind of had to happen because I have no visuals to
Right.
go off of.
I mean, it might have been possible to write out, with a rakish tilt of his head to the left side, Angel Bunny's right eyebrow raised, and his thumb went to his ear, indicating he had heard it.
Yeah. Yep.
It would have been really long.
I just thought it would be cool to try something new. So.
Oh, I think it works very well. I think it does. And I know at least one other Japanese fan was really Okay, sorry, if you have not read the book at this point, I'm not going to give away the endings, but I am going to speak about things inside the book, so spoiler alerts, stop listening at this point now. Boom! But the idea of Fluttershy in a Bo Peep costume was just adorable.
It is cute, right? I mean, it seems like it would fit her.
Oh, yeah.
I had to throw that in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a cosplay I want to see at some point.
Maybe someone will do it.
Woo! I'm hoping. And there's no denying that at least there was a movie that greatly inspired a lot of them.
There definitely was. I was hoping that would be quite obvious, and it is.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to do that sometimes, to retell older stories with new characters and, pay homage.
And it wasn't exactly the same, so it's not like you rewrote the script or anything. It just contains a lot of elements from there, and I think the final line is quite telling.
I did that on purpose.
I was like, by halfway through the book, I'm like, I'm going to bet you I know the last line. I don't know which character they'll say it to, but I was trying to imagine if there was a sentient pig in the My Little Pony universe and couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
I know that has been, at least, I'm curious to hear your opinion on this, and not necessarily canon, but some people have wondered, in at least one episode, a sheep talks. So what is the rule for which animals are allowed speech and which are not?
Are you sure it's a sheep? I think it was a cow.
No, because Applejack and Winona have just corralled the sheep, and one of the sheep said, "You could have asked."
Right.
And then Applejack closes the gate on them with a hind kick. Wow.
I don't think there is an official guide to that, honestly.
Okay.
So no, there's no official guide. It's
Okay.
just kind of, I
What
guess,
works?
whatever works
Right.
for you. People probably wouldn't want to hear that, but
Eh.
it's like it's storytelling. You just
Yeah.
want to tell a cute story, and you go off of what has already been done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that one sheep was more advanced than the others. I mean, I think in one of the earlier episodes, one of the first episodes, it's Applejack, and there's the stampede.
Right.
Then they're all saying, "We got scared,"
Mm-hmm.
but they still act like cows. I mean, there was
Yeah.
still a stampede, so
Well, and if we go to Iron Will episode, the goats don't speak, but they do wear neckties and walk around and communicate with each other on the headset. Meh, meh.
right. And there is actually, isn't there an episode too where some mice get turned into horses?
Yes, that was the best night ever.
Yeah. So, you know, it's fuzzy. The animals are fuzzy.
That's going to be the rule. Yep. Which animals can talk? It's fuzzy. So
Yeah.
wait, the fuzzy animals can talk? Hey, whatever. Okay.
Depends on the level of fuzziness.
Yeah, there we go. Which would make Flufflepuff the most sentient being in the entire MLP universe.
Oh, absolutely.
If we slow down Flufflepuff's, we actually get the entire speech, and it's just too complicated for us. Okay.
Flufflepuff is like very fascinating to me that it's become such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not surprising because it's really cute.
Oh yes, it's really cute and it's really well done. But
It's just very funny
yeah.
to see that people cosplay as a fan character at conventions now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I see a lot of those cosplays.
I think Flufflepuff's an easy one because you just need pink poofy things,
Yeah.
which is fine. I remember.
One of someone's Flufflepuff costume once because I didn't know what it was. And I saw it and it looked really cozy. And then they showed me a video and they like handed me a little piece of paper that was shaped like a heart and they told me what to do. And then I then I watched the video and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. So now it's all over the internet.
I remember that. That's also when they had the pink rolled up tube for the horn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was just part of the costume.
I think it's funny that, I don't know, I've seen some people, they seem to believe that the entire show staff has no idea about things that happen online. I'm like, I'm fairly sure they know, perhaps not everything, but they have the internet.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yep.
True.
Well, and actually, that's an interesting point on it. Originally you were just writing the books,
Mm-hmm.
but now we have other writing credits to your name.
Yes. Wrote an episode on season 5,
Woo!
which was awesome.
That's great.
I had been wanting to do that for a long time, so
Mm-hmm.
it was really cool that, Megan and all those guys at Hasbro gave me a chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really great. I had been working on the franchise for a couple of years, so
Yeah.
I think they kind of said to me, "We know you know the characters,
Right.
so we'll give you a shot." And I'm really glad they did. And it was a wonderful experience and a lot of fun. And I'm dying to see it. I cannot wait. I'm probably gonna like go Pinkie Pie crazy when I see it. So.
Going to be bounding along every chat room. Did you see it? Did you see it? It was mine. It was mine. Did you see it?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna eat like 17 cupcakes and bounce off the walls. So.
Well, and obviously, we won't do spoilers. So, but I can surmise that it was neither the opening nor finale.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Beyond that, we won't know and won't say anything. Okay.
Right.
Well, I seem to remember back when, like a very early interview with you, they had mentioned that when you were writing the main 6 books, you had written something, and I believe, I might be incorrect here, but I believe that they had to say, oh, wait, this is wrong and this is wrong, but it hasn't aired yet.
Yeah.
And at that point, they said, you know what, we need to let her in onto what's going to happen.
Yeah. It was sort of a process in terms of how much information I was given.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier on, I didn't get as much, but then, you know, made a case for it and other people agreed that the more information, the better. It just makes like a better story that fits in.
Sure.
So it all worked out. I mean, it makes it a lot richer when I can reference things that will air around the same time as the release of the book.
Right. Okay.
And it's nice to be able to not have to guess or compete with the show in that way.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm not covering the same ground.
Yeah. I can imagine that would be embarrassing for them if we release the Fluttershy book at the same time as Fluttershy episode. One says, oh, I love these rodeos. I am so scared of rodeos.
Yeah, I mean, and even with that, sometimes a few little things get changed on one side or the other, and like, things can still become conflicting.
Right.
It's a hard thing to get, everything straight with the books, the comics, the show. Yep. There's just so many people working on everything that sometimes some of the same ground is covered. And
sometimes
that's
you get a pink Celestia.
Unavoidable. So
sometimes you get a pink Celestia doll.
And sometimes that happens. Yeah, I know it upsets people sometimes when things aren't 100% clear, but also the thing I tell people is that, I know they don't really want to hear this, but try not to take it too seriously and just enjoy it and have fun, because it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
And it's not supposed to be exactly like our world where everything makes sense either. So, they have magic there, for goodness sakes.
Yes.
That explains a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I find it's funny if you see one of those, well, that's not realistic, and it's like, because of the talking horses?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it's cool that people have their own ideas of what the world is, and they like to fill in the blanks, and, they come up with explanations for things. Yeah. And I think that's great. It helps people develop their imaginations and tap into that part of themselves, and everyone needs to do that, whether you're 5 or 25 or 55, whatever age you are.
Oh yes,
I think it's a really great thing for people to do. It makes your life richer. So I don't actually care that much that people do that, but they have to keep in mind that it's just a show. It's supposed to be for fun.
Yep.
And no one's trying to upset you.
Yeah, I have seen some people imply that the show staff hates us all. Like, no, I'm fairly sure that's not the case.
No.
If they really wanted to just make things to annoy us, then it wouldn't work. Yeah.
I mean, the show staff are just trying to create something that's fun and entertaining. That's literally all.
Yep.
So, if that is achieved on any level, I think it's a success.
I think there was, if I remember correctly, when the Pinkie Pie book came out.
Right.
There was a bit of debate because you had included a sister that, up till then, had not been named. And some people were like, she's not in the family. She wasn't in that one episode.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny for me. And, there's a lot of stuff that people like to criticize that I know more about and I can't say anything about. So it's not like I could be like, hey, everyone, there's an episode coming with this other sister. And they didn't even want me to say her name in that, which is why I didn't say her name, but I just mentioned her.
Right.
And there you have it. I actually, that made me chuckle a little bit when I saw people trying to criticize me online for that. They were tweeting at me that they were annoyed about it and stuff, but...
Well, and I think Amy Keating Rogers shut them down wholeheartedly. Or was it Jim Miller? One of them. Yeah, I think Jim Miller, because in Pinky and Cheese Sandwich, when she's looking at the photo of her family, there are three sisters.
Yeah.
And Jim was saying, "Oh, look at that! A picture of Pinky and her whole family."
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I saw that for the first time, it gave me quite a lot of joy. I was like, there we go. Whew. Now everyone believes me. But, it's kind of fun to have unexpected stuff. I mean, keeps you on your toes.
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's, it's. I mean, I think the amount of effort put into keeping canonical things straight is fantastic, but there's going to be slips in the cracks. It happens.
Yeah, sure.
And
And I
it's
think that
fiction.
happens in any show. And the world has grown so big now, and there's so many characters.
Oh yeah.
There's so many backstories and situations
Hmm.
and settings and different cities. Like it's quite a big world.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I can just see it now. We'll go for the expected 4 more seasons, and all of a sudden 6 independent spin-offs. One for each of the main 6, where they find their own friends and cities, and yeah.
wow, how'd you know that? No,
Yay!
just kidding. I didn't
No,
see it.
I can
still
foresee
wanna
we'll
do that.
have.
Pretend that people have gotten things right, and then keep them wondering maybe they did.
Yeah. Well, Megan's really good at that.
She's teaching me.
I remember she had she, she was doing a joke back and forth with, I think, Stephen Andrews,
Yeah.
way before, like, when season 3 was just launching, and they were just doing jokes about what season 4 was going to entail. But
Yeah.
if you look back at it, at least one of them was Pinky's other sister appears.
Yeah.
And
No, she's really great at that, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean the show schedule is so ahead of time. Like
Hmm.
it's funny to see people theorizing about stuff when, you know, I've already read all of season 5 and it's really old news to me and I read it a long time ago. So I kind of like it's so old to me that I've forgotten about some of it by now. I have to go back and like look at it again. And that's really strange to be on the other side of it and see people going, "Oh, what's going to happen?"
Yeah.
But yeah.
And yeah, I think we kind of touched on it here, but it's fine to have your own headcanon. Just don't be that guy that insists that it's the only true one.
Right.
But hey, that's just me going off on
Yeah. Well, there's no need to get upset over it.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Have fun with it. If you're not having fun with something and you're doing it as a recreation, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Unless
And
it's exercise,
let's
then
just
I
be
can
upfront
understand.
is be upset. In that case, go ahead.
I compare it to, I've seen some people playing some video games. I'm like, and they're just complaining. I'm like, do you enjoy this? Like, no, but I got to get good.
Yeah.
It's a game. If you're not enjoying a game, then the entire purpose is gone. Give it up. Just drop it.
Yeah. Well.
So I'm guessing coming up next, we've got we've done the main 6 books, but now we're going to have every side character books.
Well, we already have the announced Celestia and Discord books, so those are next.
Cool. And that is, I'm sorry, but I didn't quite hear that. But are those you?
Yes.
Both you? Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You should get the Discord book printed upside down. The entire thing. So like
Not
the cover
really
is
at
upside
all,
down from the pages.
but maybe someone will make a mistake at the printers.
Or just have the occasional
We just have
page
to
out of
make it
order.
upside down so that it opens the other way for Japan.
Yeah, there we go. Everyone here will be like, what's the problem?
I'm on to you. Yeah. Or maybe we'll just have it all printed in just Japanese, and that's it.
Print the entire book in Morse code.
Yeah. Horse code.
Now that is something actually I wanted to ask. A lot of the names of cities and locations and locales, they are ponified. And
Mm-hmm.
that's great. I love them. Tokyo is Trotkyo, which I'm like, oh, okay, I can see that. I have never heard a ponified Osaka.
What? Because no one can think of one, or
Well,
it just
I'm struggling. I've been trying to come up with one, and I just didn't know if there was one that I was unaware of.
I have not heard of one, but I could think on it for a while.
Yeah, I've been thinking back and forth. That O is difficult because not a lot of Osaka, I guess.
Yeah, I would say Osaka is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good placeholder.
Okay, yeah. I guess it's okay for now, but yeah, if somebody has a great bona fide Osaka, please let me know, because I'm looking for it. And Osaka just... Okay, all right. Well, you mentioned a few conventions that you have been to, but you've also got some upcoming ones, right?
Yeah. I'm going to Berlin to the Brony Fair in, I think, April.
Mm-hmm.
That should be really cool. Super excited about that.
Mm.
And then in July,
Mm-hmm.
going to TrotCon in Ohio. Sorry.
Oh.
I think it's in Ohio.
I think so, not off the top of my head, but yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that'll be
So
a lot of fun.
that's lined up so far. Maybe a few more. Who knows? But yeah, I love doing conventions. I love to meet the fans, hang out, talk, do fun stuff.
Take everybody's ideas from their original stories.
I don't do that. Never.
I know, that's...
No, I actually really don't like when people start telling me their ideas about stuff because I'm not really supposed to listen to that.
Right. I've mentioned it before. I'm like, if you want to guarantee that your idea will never come to fruition, tell the show staff about it, because now they can't use it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's just. I know people don't want to hear that, but no one's ever going to take a submitted fan idea because they just can't. It's just not allowed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, too many problems with it. So your best chance is to never mention it and hope that they come up with it on their own.
That's true. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sorry, but yeah. Or you could just plant subliminal messages and send them a CD. Thought you'd like this music. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that in the main 6 books, there's quite a few hidden references that not everybody's going to get. I know that in, was that Pinky's book? Oh, which one was it that had the trees that were named? Was that Applejack?
Oh, that was in Applejack's
Yes,
book.
that's right. Applejack's book. Trees. Of course it's going to be Applejack. Oh, I'm sleepy. But no, we had trees named Stefan and Big Jim.
Yeah, that's a pretty obvious one, I would think. But
yeah, I'm hoping, but
I really like putting in little Easter eggs, references to people that work on the show. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Because you can't really do that in the show, and this is, the one medium, or I guess the comics and these are the mediums in which you can do that. And I just think it's like a nice little shout out because I have a bunch. I have I put Amy Keating Rogers OC Tippy Tappy. She's in the Rarity book.
Yep, I recognize that. Yep.
Then I believe Charity has come from the school called Larson's, the Ney School for Design, which is supposed to be a parody of Parsons, but also a reference to M.A. Larson.
Of course.
And then I have, let's see, there are a bunch of them. Can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, I decided to throw Jim and Stefan in there.
Well, and I know that in the most recent book, there are a few shout-outs, I don't know so much to show staff, but to companions.
To what? Sorry?
To companions, as in Albus.
Oh, yes. Yes, I put my own dog in the book, because, as I said earlier, I can. So I did that, because, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And why not? Yeah. If it doesn't affect much, all authors do that.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Like we said, you take what you experience in life, and that's part of what goes
on. Yeah. I've had a lot of people try and get me to put their ponies in the books, or I've had a lot of friends that want me to put in like their daughters as ponies, but it's actually pretty easy to avoid doing that because the ponies don't have traditional names, so it's you can't really put people's real names in there.
Yeah.
To work it in a weird way. That's like why Jim and Stefan were trees, and the dog's names. Winona's named Winona, so that's a normal name. So it can work.
Yeah, it would be odd having Charity and Tippy Tappy and Sweet Cream Scoops and Beth.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I mean, not that I don't want to put in people's names, but it wouldn't work at all.
Right.
So, yeah.
If it ever comes to it, you could probably do a fundraising thing where such and such donation gets your name in the book somewhere and you're named after something.
Yeah, I've thought of that, but it gets a little complicated because I don't want. I mean, what if the person's name is something I totally cannot use and they want that, and it gets fuzzy.
Sure.
So I can't do it.
Oh, no, I'm just joking.
Yeah,
I don't ever expect it to actually be something that happens.
No, I know. Although I did put my own OC pony in the book, in the Rainbow Dash book, but it's kind of a funny story about that.
Oh, go with it.
Well, I thought it would be cute because I write books to name my pony Plot Twist, because that sounds funny.
Okay.
And then everyone started making fun of me about that.
Oh, I see. The double meaning. Okay.
And I didn't know that. But I still like it, so.
Go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that.
Though we could have, Plot Twist's hip-hop sister, Rump Shaker.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Guys, that was an actual song.
Yeah, with Pinkie Pie.
All right. There was an actual song called Rump Shaker. I don't know. I'm old.
No, I know this.
Go look it up, kids. I was I did want to mention something your books do occasionally do, which is actually really rare for me, and I hate saying that because it sounds egotistical, but I'm rarely ever really shocked at an ending. And your books have occasionally done that, and it really surprised me, especially the I believe it was the Rainbow Dash one where we had Blaze.
Braze.
Sorry, Braze. Yes, that's right. I, honest to goodness, thought that was Zakura.
Yeah.
I thought it was Zakura just dressing up to give Rainbow Dash a quest as a friend for, something to do. Not like the Mare Duel, but just something that she would have fun with.
Yeah, there were different versions of that, and it's kind of the one I landed on, and I didn't want it to be too much like a different episode that already existed.
Right.
And I thought it would be cool if there were actually different characters we don't know about that we could give little hints to. And, I talked about it with the appropriate people, and they all thought it was kind of interesting and fun.
Okay.
So why not? It's funny. I've talked to some people before at conventions who basically said to me that, that's an OC, which is hilarious to me because, yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, technically it is, but you have the power of canon.
Sure. I mean, it's just funny because I try not to bring in too many new characters that haven't existed into the books, but you have to do it from time to time because that's what's interesting. That's what the show would do.
Right.
So I try to make the books like episodes of the show, and in the show they are constantly introducing new characters because it's fun.
Yep.
So if I just used only the characters that were already available all the time, I think it would become quite boring.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. And, it's anything that gets published or written or produced or anything with the franchise or any other franchise, it's not just one person deciding it either. It goes through editors, it goes through, executives who approve it, who are on board.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an important thing to remember too, is that it's still a group effort, even if it was my initial idea or I wrote the actual text of it or anything.
Right.
And every episode goes through even more channels. So when people don't like episodes, it really kind of cracks me up when they say, "Oh, it's Mitch Larson's fault because he made Twilight a princess." It's that Mitch never made that decision. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes ideas may come from a writer like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they wrote the script, but
It's
I guess.
like you're blaming the guy at McDonald's because you don't like the idea of the sandwich.
Right. I mean, lots of people have a hand in the final product, and you know, tons of animators, tons of producers.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I know there is a list out there of everybody, all the MLP staff that are on Twitter. At one point, I tried to follow everybody, but it was just way too much. Like, I
Yeah.
really appreciate the work and the final product, but I can't follow all of you.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
it's
getting
it's a lot of
choked.
people, and I think like I know that they're not as involved in the fandom and everything, but I think a lot of people should probably give more credit to these storyboard artists and animators that work on it, because they, they obviously create the visual of the show.
Right.
And I mean, you need the bare bones of the script, but
Hmm.
it'd be nothing without the visuals. And that goes for every department, though. That's
Yeah.
how it works.
Well, I think you hit on it just with the bare bones thing. I mean, you can't say, wow, this is a great cat, but we really don't need the skeleton part.
Right.
That's kind of a nasty image. I'm sorry. I kind of regret that. Apologies.
No, but it's like even they really bring it to new levels. Like
Yeah.
the Discord song, the Glass of Water song,
Oh, that was
that
fantastic.
whole thing. I mean, it's incredible what they do with it.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I'm so excited for my episode, because I wonder how things will translate from what I saw in my head
Hmm.
to what they're going to see, or what ideas they will have for it. Because
Right.
I did leave some things a little more open ended than I normally would have in a book.
Sure.
Because I describe everything, but in the script I tried to leave it a little bit more open so that they could interpret and
Hmm.
be creative in their way, because
Yeah.
they're awesome.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's, if somebody writes a play, they don't say specifically raise left arm here, gesture towards the
Yeah.
actor. They just write the lines, and occasionally we'll put in some things, move downstage and move.
Sure.
You put the important things, but for the most of it, you're trusting the other people involved to do their job to make it a good show.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
I mean, going on the OC thing, though, it must have been significantly more difficult with the Daring Do books, because really we had Daring Do and Awizodel, and that's it. Everybody else, you got to make up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew with those books that I didn't want to have Awizodel in every single one,
I
because
appreciate that.
I I just thought that would get kind of repetitive, like he kind of just goes, "Whoa, daring do," and like, shakes
Curse
his
you,
fist.
Daring Do! Yeah.
But Indiana Jones had different
Oh,
villains.
yeah. I mean,
So,
you get the good ones reappear a few times, but
right.
it's
Right.
not the only villain out there, right?
Yeah, and I tried to make sure that they like related a little bit in some way. You have in the first book the villain in that was kind of wronged by Awizodel, so there's a connection there, and
Right.
uh, things should tie together. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's a little strange to have written them without the other books being written,
Yeah.
and to kind of try to bring up some things that may have happened in the earlier books and think about what those were, but not write them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also make sense of the mess that Dave Polsky made. I didn't really mean he made a mess, but it's funny because he and I talked about the scene where we were at a convention together in Manchester, in England, and we had a fun talk where we realized that he was writing that scene with Twilight and Rainbow Dash where they're trying to like out geek each other
Right.
about daring do trivia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me that he was just pulling the most obscure factoids that sounded like, something that might make sense, but didn't really.
Yeah.
And just threw them in there to be, funny. And it was.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was going to write the books, I had to write them all down and try to put them in order and try and make sense of what they actually meant. And, it was a little confusing,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least, but,
Sure.
I did, think about that quite a lot.
I'm sure it. Yeah, that was just a back and forth. Everybody else staring at you like, what?
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, I know I've experienced from both sides.
Uh-huh.
Usually I'm on the inside out trying to outgeek somebody, but occasionally I have, and I know I'm going to get flack for this because I always do, but yeah, I have not watched Doctor Who.
Oh, I'm not going to give you flack for that.
Other people will. But yeah, I hear people going back and forth about Doctor Who, just bada, 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 bada. I'm like, uh-huh.
There's just so much Doctor Who. I've seen a bunch, but all out of order, and I could not make sense of that unless I started from the beginning. So I do not blame you for that one.
It's not that I don't want to, it's just not as easily accessible for me.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things, if you're not able to start with everybody else, by the time you are able to start, they're almost finished, and you're like, okay.
I kind of feel that way about Breaking Bad. Everyone I know has seen it already, and I want to watch it, but
I agree. I'm also in the same boat.
I'm really behind on it.
Yeah.
It's over now. So, I mean, I'll still get to watch it at some point, but
Yeah, I think that's I've got a long list of need to watch at some point.
yeah.
This is funny though. For the past 3 years, I've had the same New Year's resolution, and it's a good one, and it's easy to stick to. Every month, I watch a movie that I should have seen by this point, but I haven't.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
It's not so difficult. One movie a month.
No.
And
I've been trying to read some classic books that I somehow missed. So
that's a similar vein then.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just read The Handmaid's Tale, which I somehow completely missed, but
Okay.
it was great. And there's a reason it's a classic.
Yes, very true.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think when we're talking of the characters, we don't want to bring same characters back for each book. The entire series of the main six really reminded me of L. Frank Baum's original Wizard of Oz series.
Oh, that's quite a compliment.
I'm not sure if you've read the whole any of the series or just the original. I don't, no judgment on it.
I haven't read the whole series. Actually, my parents read them to me as a kid.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I haven't seen them in a long time, but my mom had the original series. So
Yeah, we had them in our house as well, and The Wizard of Oz is a fantastic story, and I think it's a great movie, but the movie doesn't really follow the book as much. But okay. But yeah, each book would introduce some new characters in the same land, but by the end of it, we had some familiar characters joining in.
yes,
And
yeah.
I was reminded of that a lot when I was reading the main six books. I'm like, oh, now we're focusing on this character, but we're going to have this one appear a little bit later. Okay, that's good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think that the books were pretty cool because you got to get inside each of their heads a little bit more than the show.
Right.
I enjoyed getting to write each of their voices and focus on that because, a lot of the show writers don't even get to vary which characters they write very much. Because, sometimes people will have specialties. Like, Cindy Morrow's super good at Rainbow Dash, and Amy is really good at Pinkie Pie. And, everyone has their strengths. So I was actually pretty lucky to get to write all of them and see all of them and focus on that. So that was cool.
Well, a question that I ask in each of my interviews, and you have special insight in this, but in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or scene that speaks out to you the most?
In all of My Little Pony, the whole show?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Wait, I need to scan my brain for all of My Little Pony.
Usually the knee-jerk initial response is the correct one. Though if you say something from season 5, I might disqualify you at this point. But that part in season 5 where Equestria explodes and it turns out it was in Philadelphia. Woo!
Something it's for something from my episode. No, no, just kidding. Oh gosh, I'm not very good at being put on the spot with things like that. I'm really bad at choosing favorites and, like I feel like that's a big question.
I'm rather proud of it. I think this is the 99th time I've asked it.
Do people just know off the bat?
Oh, nobody knows off the bat, unless they've seen my show and they're ready for it. Almost everybody has to think and goes, I don't know.
Now I'm just sitting here thinking. I feel like kind of stumped.
Well, is there one scene that just popped into your head?
You know what? I really love the song that Celestia sings to Twilight.
Okay.
I think that's I don't know if it's my favorite scene of all time or anything, but
Sure.
it does come to mind as something that actually was kind of touching in terms of a teacher or someone that watches over you and watches how you grow and everything. I remember when I heard that song, I thought it was really special, and it kind of it reminded me of my journey with this show, as cheesy as that sounds.
No, it's a good one, yeah.
And I felt like when I started out, I was kind of this random little book writer that no one really knew anything about or necessarily believed in, and then I kind of built myself up through making friends with all my buddies on the show and kind of being welcomed into this circle. And I felt like I had changed and grown a lot. And it was when I heard that song, I felt like, it was all the people I look up to kind of saying welcome, you're one of us now, kind of thing. Which sounds so cheesy, and I've never really said that.
No. As a teacher, that song, I was just bawling the first time I heard it because
it's
think
a teacher kind of mentor thing.
Yeah, I've had, coming up soon in March is when every student in Japan graduates and goes to the, next level. March is when that happens. So I've got at least 5 students that I'm never going to see again. And I'm like, I hope I taught you well, and good luck at university, and go be a good human.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course it made me think of my teachers too. I was in all these AP English classes in high school, and I was always writing and reading a ton. And I think if I got to talk to them now, I wonder, if they'd be proud of me for becoming an author. I think that would be really
As a teacher, I can say, yes, we're proud of you.
Yeah.
Not just Gia Berrow, everybody. Teachers are proud of you as long as you're not a dink online. Then we're proud of you, but just for different reasons.
Yeah. Anyways.
I like it. It's slightly cheesy, but that's all right. Sometimes that's.
The show is kind of sentimental and cheesy at times anyway, so.
Best foods in existence are wine and cheese, so.
That is true.
That's why we like to wine so much and why we're cheesy.
Yeah.
That's not a good idiom. I hope that doesn't catch on.
I'm trying to think of a line though, because that didn't really answer the line question.
No, it's line or scene that falls within the parameters.
See, I don't know if that's gonna. Well, never.
If you have another one, that's fine. I've had people give multiple answers before.
Yeah.
The only answer I have not accepted is somebody said the whole show. I'm like, no. More specific than that, please.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I love all the Pinkie Pie stuff because she's my favorite character. Her and well, actually, I love all the characters. I can't. It's hard to say favorites anymore.
Yeah.
I feel so attached to all of them. But
That's why I never ask who somebody's favorite pony is, because
yeah,
it's a lot of pressure on them.
yeah, it's funny because like I said earlier, having done each of the books, I feel like I've really gotten to know each of these characters really well.
Sure.
And
Did you find that when you were writing the books, you started to have not a full-on change, but you were adapting your own personality style to that particular pony a little bit?
maybe you'd have to ask the people in my life.
Ah, okay.
That's true, but maybe I was kind of sassier when I was writing Rainbow Dash or something. Candy while I did the Pinkie Pie one. I don't know. Um, yeah. I mean, no, I don't know.
It works. It's a good one.
I'm definitely channeling Fluttershy right now. My puppy is on my lap sleeping, so.
Aw, that's adorable. Well,
But,
everybody, today we've been speaking with GM Berrow. Thank you so much for coming by.
oh, you're
I know
welcome.
you're busy as heck.
Yes, I have lots of work to do on pony things, so.
Yay! I mean, happier when it's done, but still, yay for work. Woo!
Yay!
Everybody be sure to check out Season 5. Her episode's going to be coming up. Get the Fluttershy book if you haven't yet. It should be out by now. Ha ha, I've already read it. Ha ha ha.
Wahaha.
I still geek out over the fact that I'm literally the first person to purchase the book to read it. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
6 times now. Yeah. But yes, get the books. Get the convention's coming up. We have one in Berlin or Ohio if you're closer to that. Again, thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you.
Everyone, this has been Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. We'll catch you next time.